black helicopters, government corruption, waging war on the New World Order. It's all right here on the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. Now, live from his worldwide command post in the studios of WXEI 95.3 FM in Crestview, Florida. Here is Jon Arthur.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jim Michaels. Hello, America. Hello, world. The Jon Arthur Live Radio Show is on the air. We're broadcasting live this evening right here in the studios of WXEI 95.3 FM, the talk of Crestview. Coming up this hour, lots of good stuff to talk about. A judge now stating that Obama's drone strikes are indeed a war crime. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a school expelling a 12-year-old cancer victim for missing too many days. Really? We'll talk about that as well. And following Obama's lead, frat boys disrespect some disabled vets. All this plus your calls. 253-323-7555. 253-323-7555. Welcome to the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. Well, I want to apologize for the last couple of days. We have been out of pocket and glad to be back in the saddle. A couple of days of needed rest following a whirlwind tour of New Orleans and Shreveport, Louisiana, but we're back in the saddle. And we want to welcome all the folks that still continue to support this radio show, and I appreciate all of you. Well, the big news, obviously, today, a judge, a former New Jersey Supreme Court judge, Andrew Napolitano, has now blasted Obama over the revelations that a drone strike he sanctioned killed hostages being held prisoner by Al-Qaeda in Pakistan. So what we're seeing here is Obama acting as judge, jury, and executioner. The libertarian pundit did not mince words, calling Obama's actions, quote, a war crime. See, here's the thing. Here's what I don't get. When George W. Bush, also a war criminal, did the very same thing, there was this huge outcry from all the liberals, all the leftists, all the folks that hate the Republican Party or hate conservatism. And it was, oh my God, George W. Bush is a criminal. He's a war criminal. He needs to be brought up on charges. Okay, so here we have the same actions by Mr. Obama, the illegal alien so-called president. Not a word from the leftists whatsoever. It's called hypocrisy, my friends. But Judge Napolitano said during an appearance on Special Report, said, I condemn in words as strong as I can. He said, I condemn in words as strong as anyone can muster the idea that the President of the United States can be judge, jury, and executioner for any American. He said during an appearance again. He said, continuing, the Constitution expressly prohibits it. And we fought every single war against tyrants so that type of unilateral power in the hands of one person who now apparently delegates it to others would ever come here. He added, the president can not summarily kill Americans. That is a war crime. And see, I agree. Whether it's Bush, whether it's Obama, it's all criminality. I don't care what side of any aisle you're standing on. Well, Obama refused to take questions on the revelations yesterday, simply telling reporters that he took full responsibility for the drone strike and profoundly regrets what happened. Really? So American citizens die, and all we get is an apology? Well, I guess getting some kind of apology is better than today's human beings that can do things wrong to other people and not apologize, right? Well, Obama apologized to the families of the victims, Warren Weinstein, an American doctor, and Giovanni Laporto, an Italian aid worker. The hostages are just two of the innocent victims that have lost their lives to drone strikes, which have killed untold numbers of civilians. And we're not talking just about Americans or Italians. We're talking about just civilians in general. The Bureau of Investigative Journalism has calculated that between 421 and 960 civilians have been killed by drone strikes in Pakistan since 2002. Last year, the watchdog also released figures indicating that close to 2,500 people have been killed by launches sanctioned by Mr. Obama and the White House. I mean, this is sick stuff. We're talking about basically calculated killing of Americans at the hands of Barack Hussein Insane Obama. The New York Times notes that the strikes are conducted not according to detailed intelligence, but rather constitute an imperfect best guess about who they're targeting. See, that's the sad thing here, folks, is these people don't know what they're doing. Or if they do know what they're doing, it is certainly even more criminal than you can imagine. Well, in regard to this, the Times notes that every independent investigation of the strikes has found far more civilian casualties than administration officials admit. So when they tell you there's 10 civilian deaths, you can probably multiply it by 10 or multiply it by 100. In regard to the latest revelations, Jamil Jaffer, deputy legal director of the ACLU, said the United States quite literally didn't know who it was killing. Reporters with The Intercept have demanded to know when Obama will apologize for every other drone strike that results in the deaths of innocent people. When asked by The Intercept if the words of Obama meant that there would be a policy change in how the U.S. deals with claims of civilian casualties resulting from counterterrorism operations, an administration official, of course, declined to comment. Of course they're not going to comment. Because you've got these drone strikes from Obama that are war crimes. Jury, judge, executioner, all in one. They don't care. Obama doesn't care. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. And it's sick. And it's sad. If you'd like to get involved on the show tonight, and I appreciate everybody listening tonight. I appreciate you being here for us. We try and broadcast 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It's not always possible, unfortunately, due to a lot of my scheduling. I apologize about this. We're going to try and get a lot more organized, and we're going to try and have our rebroadcasts a lot more So the question that has been brought to myself is, why do you not support somebody like Jeb Bush for president? And we apologize for the technical snafu. Why do I not support Jeb Bush for president? When of course I supported him as governor of the state of Florida, thought he was probably one of the best governors we've ever had. I can honestly tell you that I did indeed believe that that Jeb Bush was a good governor. Well, here is one reason, and I'm sure that I probably have at least 10 reasons that I can tell you why I will not support Jeb Bush for president, why I will personally endorse Ted Cruz as Benjamin Netanyahu already did. Jeb Bush, a likely presidential contender, said this week that Obama's greatest accomplishment, his greatest accomplishment, keep this in mind, when Jeb Bush is asking for your vote, Jeb Bush stated that Obama's greatest accomplishment was keeping in place controversial spying programs at the NSA. You know what I'm talking about, the programs that basically are in place to spy on you and I, spy on American citizens. Jeb Bush likes that. He's like his daddy and like his brother. Likes these New World Order tactics. Likes the New World Order program of spying on the American citizens. I would say the best part of the Obama administration would be his continuance of protections of the homeland using the big metadata programs, he said. Bush argued that the NSA programs had been enhanced under Obama, even if Obama never defends them or openly admits it. The former Florida governor said the NSA's bulk collection of Americans' phone data was an important service. Wow. It's an important service. We're going to spy on you. We're going to collect your data. We're going to be Big Brother, 1984 George Orwell. And we're doing it as a service to you. With friends like that, who needs enemies, right? We're doing this as a service to you, my friend. He went on to say that the NSA's bulk collection is carried out in a way that protects individual civil liberties. I can tell you that's just a load of garbage. It is a load of garbage. He lauded the Obama administration for refusing to buckle under pressure from Democrats, civil liberties groups, and Republicans. Wow. So this is how far gone Mr. Obama is in regard to your civil liberties. This is how far gone Jeb Bush is in regards to your civil liberties. This is how far gone these people have gotten when it comes to protecting your rights and your civil liberties. They don't care. They could care less about you and I. Jeb Bush could care less about your rights as a civilian, your rights under the Constitution. Jeb Bush could care less. And he says, you know what? To hell with those Democrats, to hell with the civil liberties groups, and to hell with those Republicans who want to value you as an American citizen, protect you with constitutional protections. This is just issue number one that I have with Jeb Bush. This is issue number one that I have with this man who has aspirations to be Bush number 3 in the White House. I say Hell no. We might have been fooled by the first George W. Bush, first George Bush, Senior. Fool me once, shame on you, right? Fool me twice, shame on me. What about fool me 3 times? No way. You're not going to fool me. I wasn't fooled with George W. Bush. I did not vote for the man. In 1980, I supported Patrick J. Buchanan and the Reform Party. And we had Pat Buchanan on the show, actually, back in 2000. I might have said 1990, but I meant 2000. So in the year 2000, we had Pat on the show. We supported him in his run for president under the Reform Party. And of course, unfortunately, George W. Bush won the Battle of the Chads. And he became president. And then in 2004, I supported Alan Keyes. So not once did I ever vote for George W. Bush. In 2008, I supported Ron Paul until Ron Paul was out of the running, and then I voted for Sarah Palin. But what are you saying, John? You voted for McCain? No, I voted for Sarah Palin. Why did I vote for Sarah Palin? Because I believe she was the only good part of that ticket. And I believe that 99.9% of the votes that McCain got were due to Sarah Palin, because it was going to be a landslide. The polling numbers out there before he chose her as his running mate were pitiful. The moment he chose a true conservative like Sarah Palin, suddenly Americans had a renewed hope. A renewed hope that things were going to change, that things were going to get better, that we had an opportunity to put a true constitutionalist like Sarah Palin in the White House as the number 2 individual on the ticket. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. Unfortunately, we saw, of course, Mr. Obama elected. 2012, we saw Mr. Obama come in again, and we saw the sham election with, of course, Mitt Romney and, of course, the Obama debacle, of course, of 2012. Obama supposedly, quote, reelected. I've got my doubts. I think there was a lot of voter fraud going on. And I think Mitt Romney probably really did win the election. Not that it would have made much of a difference when it comes to the New World Order and the police state and what's going on in America. We would not have been much better off. But I truly do believe that yes, folks, Jeb Bush is certainly not the answer. Bush said that Obama has not abandoned the NSA's programs. And Bush is saying this as a good thing. Like we should just stand up and give Mr. Obama a standing ovation for continuing Big Brother. Or critics of the NSA programs like myself say that they're a massive affront to individual privacy, while defenders say they're a critical tool in uncovering and combating terrorism. Simply outlandish, folks. 253-323-7555 is the phone number if you'd like to get involved on the show. So realistically, I mean, look at what we've covered so far on the show. You got Mr. Obama. Mr. Obama acting as judge, jury, and executioner, killing Americans with his drone strikes. being now called a war criminal. We talked about George W. Bush doing the same thing, also another war criminal. But now we've got Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush coming out publicly supporting Mr. Obama and his support of the NSA spying. Does anyone out there listening understand how sick this is? It's truly, truly sick. Folks, again, we're entering a time in American history where the American people have no choice. George Orwell wrote about it in 1949. He released the book, 1984. And interestingly enough, when he released the book was supposed to be a blueprint of what America is not supposed to look like, what America should avoid. You fast forward to 2015, right? Fast forward to today. And what do you see? You see an America that is embracing Orwell's 1984, embracing Orwell's Big Brother policy. And then this week, unfortunately, sad to say, you've got one of the Republican candidates for president, possible presidential candidates, stating publicly that Obama's doing a great job. The Big Brother's wonderful. Keep it up. Doing a great job. To hell with those Democrats and Republicans and civil libertarians that want to support our Constitution, want to support the civil liberties of Americans. To hell with them, right? I hope you understand that this is where the battle lines are going to be drawn. We need to support Ted Cruz because I believe he's the only individual that would support a real America, a real constitutional America. All right, folks, we're taking our first break, our bottom of the hour break. When we get back, your calls, 253-323-7555. Keep it here on the First Amendment Radio Network. We'll be right back. Stay close.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The rapture will be canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the left behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
Thirty-three minutes after the hour, you're listening to the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show, coast to coast and around the world. Welcome back to segment number 2 of the fastest hour on your radio. This is the Friday edition of the show. We are, how can I say this? We are struggling daily to just try and cope with the direction this world is going. I don't know about you. I don't know about you, my friends, but every single day that goes by, I realistically am so discouraged and so disgusted by the new America that I have a hard time dealing with it. I have a hard time dealing with this new generation. Maybe I'm just old school, but I have a hard time dealing with folks that can't say I'm sorry, that have no respect for righteousness, that have no respect for morality. You know, until recently, we talk about it on this show. We talk about the fact that the generation is going to hell in a handbasket. But until you get involved with people and you start getting involved in realizing how bad things have gotten, wow, then suddenly it hits you like a ton of bricks. Because recently it hit me like a ton of bricks, and it was very, very disturbing. It was very disturbing to me to realize that this generation that we're seeing now, a generation that will one day will rule America, that this generation has no moral fiber at all. Sure, unless you're a Christian, of course. I'll preface it with that. But unless you're a Christian and you're somebody from this crazy generation, I can certainly tell you, folks, that this is not this is not Ozzie and Harriet anymore. And maybe my time has passed. You know, I hate to say that, but I think my generation has passed. We are the minority. You know, you can't, unfortunately, you can't start over and then think everything's going to be the same. You can't start over and think that, oh, hey, I'm going to meet somebody nice, and I'm going to get involved with somebody nice, and I'm going to see a good world and a good world picture. It's not happening. You know, and then, you know, it's interesting. I hear the commercials for Left Behind with Nicholas narrating, and what I found wild is that when I watched the new Nicolas Cage film, the Left Behind version, wow, I came away with this feeling that it was a feeling of emptiness, a feeling of hollowness. And, you know, I'll remember, you know, as a young man watching the versions of Left Behind. You know, there were several of them. There was, you know, the first one, the second one, the third one, and it was starring Kirk Cameron, the 80s child star. And I got this awesome feeling from watching those movies. I got this feeling that, you know what, Jesus is coming back. Jesus is coming back for all of us. That's what's important, my friends. That's what's important in this life, my friends. Nothing else matters. No matter who hurts you, no matter who slanders you, no matter who comes across and spits in your face, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, my friends. It doesn't matter because, you know, the only thing that matters is that one day you're going to die and you're going to go to heaven or you're going to hell. And because this world has seen better days, I believe a majority are headed for hell. I hate to say that. It breaks my heart to say that. I know people that are headed for hell, and it breaks my heart. But unfortunately, folks, we can't make up their minds for them. We can only try and plant a seed. But you know what? Nowadays, it's getting harder and harder to plant that seed. Planting the seed has become a real difficult chore. Planting the seed has become almost an impossibility. And I understand all things are possible through Christ. But all things are not possible through Jon Arthur, obviously. All things are only possible through God Almighty and Jesus Christ. A sick story out of the land of confusion. Yeah, the state of Florida, the state of confusion. America is the land of confusion, but we are the state of confusion. This is a confused state, and let me tell you why. Because we in Northwest Florida, for the most part, I'm going to exempt Navarre, Florida. Navarre, Florida is a wasteland of humanity. It is a sick, sick, sick place with a lot of sick people. Mentally, they are sick. A majority of the folks in that area are alcoholics, sexual abusers. It's a different area. But the majority of this area, Pensacola, Florida, Milton, Florida, Crestview, Florida, Defuniak Springs, this area is very conservative. I call the state of Florida the state of confusion, because as you work your way down south, suddenly you're in Obama territory. But a sad, sick story out of Gainesville. But it's in regard to this area that I reside in. And the University of Florida, out of Gainesville, is investigating now allegations that members of the Zeta Beta Tau fraternity spit on a group of disabled military veterans last weekend at a resort in Panama City, at Panama City Beach. Panama City Beach is a mere maybe hour away from Navarre, Florida. A mere hour and 15 minutes or so, maybe an hour and a half away from Crestview, Florida, where we broadcast from. In an email to Linda Cope, the founder of the Warrior Beach Resort Retreat at the Laketown Wharf Resort, University of Florida President Ken Fuchs called the behavior unacceptable and has promised a full investigation. The incidents were reported to Fuchs by Cope and others who witnessed the fraternity members spitting on the veterans and then stealing their American flags. Can you imagine? I don't know if any of you saw that sick movie about the fraternities up against the home owners next door. I only saw bits and pieces and clips of the movie, which made me utterly disgusted and sickened. But it makes me think of the same thing. You got these fraternities, these sick young people, these sick children walking around at the expense of what their mama and daddy have paid, doing sick stuff, sexually immoral, just morally bankrupt. And these morally bankrupt individuals have now decided that spitting on our veterans is a fun thing to do. And stealing their American flags is a wonderful thing to do. Well, the Gainesville Sun is reporting that the fraternity is currently on conduct probation for a hazing incident in the fall semester. The fraternity has now suspended its operations and is cooperating with the investigation. Being on probation means the organization faces increased consequences if they are found to have violated probation requirements. So these are some sickos. Sick people. The Sun reports that the Zeta Beta Tau members from the University of Florida and Emory University in Georgia were at the resort last weekend. Emory officials said they're investigating, but so far there's no evidence to implicate their students in the incident, and that it was the University of Florida and the University of Florida's students. Well, about 60 veterans who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan were attending a retreat which has been held twice a year for the last 6 years at the resort. Cope started the event in honor of her son Joshua, who lost both legs in Baghdad in 2006 when a roadside bomb exploded under his Humvee. And, you know, it's just wild. It really is. One letter to Fuchs describes students spitting on veterans, throwing beer bottles over a balcony, and ripping flags off their cars. Folks, welcome to the new college students, right? Those are the college students that used to just play pranks on people, and now it's not pranks, it's sickness. Spitting on veterans, throwing beer bottles at them, ripping flags off their cars. Cope says she believes the students knew they were insulting the veterans because the guests were wearing caps and T-shirts indicating that they were indeed veterans. They knew who they were, and they were just getting a kick out of it, she said. It's heartbreaking for a mom with a son who sacrificed so much for their freedom. Cope said that hotel security got the situation under control and that the fraternity members were evicted the next morning. They apologized to me in person, but only because they got caught, she said. Zeta Beta Tau's Florida chapter has 128 active members. Chapter President Tyler Drescher told the newspaper they had no comment. The fraternity sent a letter of apology to Cope. She said she looks forward to the outcome of the investigations. Folks, this is the new generation. This is the new America. This is, unfortunately, what Americans think about our veterans who fought and died for us. It's discouraging and disgusting. But again, this is the new America. This is what we're seeing. Again, Fuchs said the school, University of Florida, is making every effort to learn what happened and to try and take appropriate actions. We'll see what happens, my friends. 253-323-7555. 253-323-7555. Utterly disgusting. Well, speaking of schools, a Catholic school in Michigan is being criticized over its sick decision to expel a young girl. Here's the sick thing. They decided to expel this girl. Why? Because she underwent a lengthy medical procedure. I mean, how disgusting is that? That you got, a school saying, you know what, we're going to let you go and do your medical procedure, but then we're going to argue that you missed too many days and failed to meet academic standards, so we'll just expel you. We'll kick you out. Well, last week, the parents of 12-year-old Rose McGrath were stunned to learn that the St. Joseph Middle School would be discontinuing their child's education. Rose telling CBS affiliate WWMT, I didn't do anything wrong, but they still got rid of me. Folks, do you see how this world is treating folks now? Do you see how people have no compassion, no empathy, and they think they do nothing wrong? Rose has been fighting acute leukemia, a type of blood cancer, since she was diagnosed in August of 2012. It's now in remission, but she's admittedly had to miss quite a few school days. She's only attended class time 32 days this year, but her parents say that she should go to school every day only if she had the strength. But of course, now she is stating that she did not have the strength. She could not go to school because she didn't have the strength, folks. even though they know she's now done with her treatment, you still have a long recovery process because you've basically put in 2.5 years of poison into your body. Despite her aggressive chemo treatment, Rose's parents, her mother Barbara, still says she's on track to pass her core classes. But here's the sad thing. Unfortunately, the Battle Creek area Catholic schools where she attended her whole life felt that despite their many accommodations, which included reducing the student's workload, the child failed to meet their academic attendance standards. These were extraordinary circumstances, but so many accommodations were made, we felt eventually it became a point where we really had to just help her by being able to make sure she was getting the assistance she needed and then to learn. So said Battle Creek Area Catholic Schools pastor administrator John Fleckenstein. But here's the sad thing to me, folks, is they're not giving this child a chance. The accommodations which were made woefully inadequate for a child with such a serious diagnosis. Her mother also added that Rose didn't skip out on any class intentionally whatsoever. It's not like she's out at the mall having fun. She's in her bed, sick with nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain. She's not having fun. She's sick. She'd be at school if she would. Rose's parents said they filed a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights. I don't blame them. But again, this is showing you that even at a Catholic school, there's no empathy, there's no sympathy, there's no apology for treating people like garbage. Treating people like second-class citizens and garbage. Folks, it's a new day and age we live in. Our children are treated like garbage, like they mean nothing. When you're a 12-year-old and you're a cancer survivor, you're going to miss days at school. But due to missing days, guess what? Yeah, she's expelled. And if you're the President of the United States, you can kill Americans and then just simply apologize. Sorry. Didn't mean that one. Do apologize. Wow. 253-323-7555 if you'd like to get involved on the show. 253-323-7555. Folks, do you understand? Do you understand what we're looking at here? Well, one police state story for the night. We spent an awful lot of time talking about the police state and the New World Order. Tonight we really were able to not discuss the police state. But I have one story that is very devastating. The headline, mentally ill homeless man severely beaten by police because his beach umbrella was too big. Wow. A video released yesterday captured 8 LA police officers beating, tasing, and hog-tying a mentally ill homeless man as he tried to enjoy the simple pleasure of a day at the beach. The man and his lawyer say that this abuse at the hands of the LAPD has been a pattern over the past year, and his hospital records show it. They are now calling for a federal investigation of the violations of his civil rights. In the video that was taken August 7th, 2014, 8 officers are seen brutalizing Samuel Calhoun Arrington, a 52-year-old man suffering from bipolar disorder. The incident began when he reportedly refused to sign a citation for items placed on the city beach and property outside of designated space. What horrible items could have been on the beach, you ask? A chair and an umbrella, which everyone else brings to the beach all summer long without being targeted for abuse or assaults. To me, what they did in full view of every person on Venice Beach was to strip a homeless man, someone mentally ill, of their last shred of humanity. According to the police report, Arrington had lunged at the officers, attempted to grab one of their belts. So that's a great reason, right? To severely beat somebody. We just need to have fun beating another individual, right? In the video, you see the unarmed man lounging in his chair, entirely non-aggressive, and doing nothing like what is described from the report as the gang of officers begin to assault him. The officers also wrote in the report that there was no video taken of the incident,